It is with great pleasure that I invite our chief guest,
the faculties, head of department, members of the academic staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and graduates. Today is yet another memorable day for everyone at the University of Visual and Performance Arts. An annual entry of a new batch of young this country. The graduate who will leave the university today have a special role. You will not only foster a culture with a long history, but will also nurture it by adding your creativity and innovation to an evolving process. Therefore, I would like to congratulate you for graduating from this university, but also for your future achievement. It also my duty to express gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Deans of the faculties, professors and head of department, academic and non-academic staff for their commitment and dedication in keeping this university as a vibrant seat of higher education. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Vice Chancellor and the organizing committee for their kind invitation. This is a memorable day for me personally. As an academic and an administrator in the university system, I have and will always value and cherish the system that has made me who I am today. Therefore, it is an honor and privilege for me to deliver the convocation address after returning from the University of Peradeniya. During my 40 years of service, I have undertaken different positions. What I have learned is that for a university to achieve academic excellence, the university community has important roles and responsibilities assigned to each of us by virtue of our position in the hierarchy as well as our specific skills and abilities. Our collective roles are defined by the country's development goals and what society expects of us. Our individual roles are defined not only by our competencies, but also by our vision and dedication. Synchronizing these diverse roles is the key to creating a conducive environment for not only for work, but for knowledge, management, idea generation, creativity, and innovation. It is this well-orchestrated academic environment that have the attitude and skill to listen and learn from a range of individuals, irrespective of bias and personal prejudice. In this context, I was challenged as to what I should focus on in my address. As someone who has seen many batches of students come and go, and having experienced and witnessed fundamental social change in the 1960s and 70s, I thought it appropriate that I should focus on the evolutionary process of university education in Sri Lanka and share some of my experiential observations with you. Sri Lanka, as a country that has a long history of scholarly learning in South Asia, had its system of learning and knowledge deeply rooted in the Buddhist monastic culture. However, university education, as it is defined in the contemporary world, goes back to the latter part of British rule. The establishment of the University College in 1921 as an institution that prepared candidates for the external degree of the University of London marked the beginning of university education in our country. It was a result of requests made by the University of Ceylon, established in 1942 under the provision of Act number 20. The guiding principles were that a university should be a university unitary, residential, and autonomous. Consequently, the first university was situated in Colombo and subsequently moved to Peradeniya after much debate regarding most appropriate site for a university. The University of Ceylon, followed by the model of Oxford and Cambridge, popularly known as the Oxbridge model. It is a fully planned residential university with English as a medium of instruction until 1959. The majority of students were drawn from the urban middle class and elite status for guaranteed to those who passed out from the university. The number of students who entered was about 2,000, but increased to about 3,500 by 1950 to 1951. The University of Ceylon was one and the only university with campuses in Colombo and Peradeniya until 1959. Post-independent Sri Lanka was a society and an economy in transition, seeking and forging in identity and vision. The foresighted policies of offering education for all and the unleashing of latent social forces created a demand for the expansion of university education, particularly in the social sciences and humanities. However, due to the limitation of English as the medium of instruction, these demands were not met. The then Vice-Chancellor, Sir Jennings, was astute enough to move the idea of establishing a second university in Colombo. The year 1959 marked a watershed of the expansion of and development of university education in Sri Lanka. After the election victory of the Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, the coalition headed by W.R.D. Bandaranayake in 1956, the underlying aspiration of the hitherto unrepresentative social forces came to the fore. The pressure of increasing the number of students to the arts and the social sciences with a medium of instruction in Sinhala and Tamil language just came to the forcefully articulated. It was not only a social pressure, but also a political pressure. The government met these social and political pressures by upgrading two leading Buddhist Pirivana, Vidyodaya and Vidyalankar, to the status of universities. Simultaneously, Sinhala and Tamil were introduced as a language of instruction. In university education, while maintaining English as a language of instruction. These changes had a far-reaching impact on the development of university education in the country. The next stage of expansion took place after the election victory of the United Front coalition headed by Sirimau Bandaranayake in 1970. During her regime, the University Ceylon was named as the University of Peradeniya, while the Colombo branch of the University of Ceylon was declared an independent university as the University of Colombo. During the same period, the Technical College of Katubadda was upgraded as a university which specialized in engineering, and the University of Jaffna was established in 1975. The former was renamed as the University of Moratuwa after 1978. The government was also introduced a new University Act in 1972, merging all universities under the one umbrella and named other outside the purview as campuses. The Act of 1972 was similar to the Act of 1966 that reduced the autonomous character of universities and changed every aspect of university administration. The two acts were complete departure from the University Act number 20 of 1942. The next phase of expansion of university education took place after the election victory of the United National Party under the leadership of Jaya Jayawardena, the first executive president of Sri Lanka. The establishment of the Ministry of Higher Education in March 1978 was the major step taken by the government. Another major change was the introduction of the University Act number 16 of 1978. The Act of 1978 reverted to the tradition and practice of university education before 1966. The important feature in the Act of 1978 is the assigning of full autonomous status to then campuses, upgrading them to a university status. The establishment of the University Grant Commission, which serves as a buffer between the university and the government, was a significant step in university education in the country. This was also an era when it was felt that political and administrative decentralization was imperative to address the issues of unequal development and the pressure of ethnic violence. Therefore, the University of Runa was established in 1978, and the Baticular University College was established in 1981. It is evident that the political and economic ideologies of the political parties that govern the country impacted university education. During the period of the People's Alliance in 1994, there was a demand from the students of the affiliated universities to upgrade such institutions to university status. Consequently, 3 new universities were born by merging existing affiliated universities. Initially, the University of Rajarata and the University of Sabaragamuwa were established in 1996, while the Waimbah University was established later. Your Vice Chancellor, Professor Rohana Mahaliyanarachi, and I were appointed as Vice Chancellors at Sabaragamuwa and Rajarata Universities on 4th March 2005. In 2006, I assumed duty as the chairman of the UGC and served until end of January 2013. In 2005, the Uvellasa University of Sri Lanka and the University of the Visual and Performing Arts were established. Professor Rohana Mahaliyanarachi, I participated in the opening ceremony of the 2 universities. In 2021, the Gampaha Vikamarachi Ayurveda Institute was elevated as a new university in Sri Lanka. University education in Sri Lanka has evolved from its inception in 1940, particularly after 1956. Since then, different governments were compelled to change the system of university education to meet the demand and aspiration of the population in a country where education continues to be the only means of upward mobility for the poor and equalizing gender disparities. the demand and pressure of social forces and social and political issues that continue to remain unresolved shape and mold the course of university education in the country. We now have 16 universities, other higher education institutions under the purview of the University Grant Commission. The number of students studying is to 30,000 in 2005. Currently, with the increase of student intake to universities, the number of students has increased to well over 100,000. The expansion of university education has many implications on the trajectory of the socio-economic and political change in the country. While harnessing and developing our human resources, its management and alignment to the development goals of the country remain a profound problem. As a reflection of this crisis in our society, our university is on a paradoxical crossroad, beset by wastage, mismanagement, lack of focus, and quality. Education, particularly university education, is a process subject to rapid changes due to inevitable socio-economic and political changes attributed to globalization. We may find it difficult to understand or cope with these evolving trends at every part of the globe due to the advance in communication technology. At the initial stages of higher education, there were three main objectives in university education, particularly in the stream of liberal arts. The first was to impart the ability to understand nature and the environment, society, and self. The second was to improve and develop skills such as clear expression of ideas, scientific method, and understanding of different subjects. The third was patience and ability to take judicious decision. However, the challenge of 21st century called more other competencies. The 20th century was a violent century. It was dominated by war, with the two total wars, namely World War I and the World War II, which not only affected the whole world, but was fought on the premise that any means can be used to win. It is estimated that between 60 to 78 million died. Other than the two world wars, many internal wars, conflict, revolution, and genocide shaped the 20th century and caused the death of millions. The 21st century has carried the legacy forward, and poverty, internal strife, and violence still threaten peace. Therefore, UNESCO has introduced the Global Citizenship Framework to promote peaceful, tolerant, inclusive, secure, and sustainable societies. The approach is defined as a transformative, lifelong pursuit that involves both curricular learning and practical experience to shape a mindset to care for humanity and the planet. and to equip individuals with global competence to undertake responsible action aimed at forging more just, peaceful, secure, sustainable, tolerant, and inclusive societies. The approach has 6 main dimensions as a attitude that support collective identity that transcend individual, cultural, religious, ethnic, or other differences. B. Deep knowledge of global issues and universal values such as justice, equality, dignity, and respect and sustainability as the main concept of the future. C. Cognitive skill to think critically, systematically, creatively, that recognize the different dimension, perspective, and angles of issues. D. Non-cognitive skill, including social skills such as empathy and conflict resolution. E. Communication skills and aptitude for networking and interacting with people of different background, origins, cultures, and perspective. And F. Behavioral capacity to act collaboratively and responsibly, irrespective of what subject you study or what faculty you belong. These are competencies. That make us human, and education has realized producing a peaceful human is the most important objective of education. As developing country, we have placed emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I have also heard of criticism of the social sciences, humanities, and the arts as faculties of low relevance in comparison. To the critic, I say, can you imagine a world without music? Can you imagine a world without song? Can you imagine a world without dance? Can you imagine a world without performance? I cannot. Therefore, I would like to say, your talent are precious. You have been blessed with specific talent, and all you have to do is become a lifelong student who is peaceful human. Thank you.
Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to present the memento to the Dr. Gamini Samaranayake, Chief Guest of the Convocation.
උපාධි ප්‍රදානෝත්සවය සමාප්ත බව ප්‍රකාශ කරමි.
නංවන කිතු ගොස රන්දන දයම විරාජිත කළ එළියයි ජය රජ වන්දන සිරිදුව කැන්දන ලලිත කලාවේ සරසවියයි සරසවියයි පසතුරු පසනඳ නිරතුරු වෙන නද නවනලු රස සුරංගනයයි පසතුරු පසනඳ නිරතුරු වෙන නද නවනලු රස සුරංගනයයි එලි තුඩ නම්දන මේ